Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be updating you on some more current latest news. Now, just a bit more of transfer rumours to discuss you with about who has been mentioned in the press is Ryan Sessengon, because we know that Jose Mourinho has been looking at quite a few different left backs. You know, he's still looking to address that left hand side in the squad. He's still in the search for a creative winner, and as basically confirmed, you know, Woodward and Mourinho have had discussions, you know, about plans for the January window, and Mourinho's going to be getting about £89 million. He spent 300 million so far in 3 transfer windows. This is his second season. The process is Jose Mourinho's, and he's got a 3-year contract now. There is talks, you know. Some fans are happy with Jose Mourinho at the club, you know, due to his tactics, because we know that he got his tactics wrong against Manchester City. But for me, he is still the right man. You know, it is only his second season. You know, won the Europa League with us last season, got a Champions League qualification, won the League Cup with us last season, and we're still in a strong position as it is, even though we are sitting 11 points behind City. Because obviously, you know, Manchester United and Manchester City spent big back in August. City spent over £200 million. You know, they spent, you know, quite a lot on fullbacks alone. Jose Mourinho did miss out on quite a few targets back in August. You know, missed out on likes of Perisic, you know, Bale, you know, Fabinho, Griezmann, our main power target, we didn't get him. So potentially, basically the board have said we have to sell before we can buy. And basically what it said, Man United is still looking to draft that left back, because obviously we could still see a few players go, such as Shaw, who's being mentioned, Blind, Darmian, and all that being mentioned. You know, Fellaini in that midfield could still leave Manchester United. You know, could lose him on a free transfer next summer if contract talks don't progress as well. So, yeah, we will see what happens. But reportedly in the press, Ryan Sessengon has been mentioned, you know, a player that Mourinho and Manchester United have been closely monitoring. It has said it is clear that we can sign Ryan Sessengon in the January window, because I think Fulham are willing to actually offload Ryan Sessengon. You know, Spurs have been actually interested in him as well. Spurs have identified him, you know, as a fantastic replacement for Danny Rose. Obviously, we didn't identify, Ryan Sessengon as a good replacement for Luke Shaw, because obviously Ryan Sessengon's very, very young. He's 17. He's a lot younger than Luke Shaw. He is also younger than Danny Rose as well, so you get probably a lot more years out of Ryan Sessengon. You know, it would be good to come and see him experience the Premier League, Ryan Sessengon. But Tottenham had been interested back in August. Man United had been interested in him as well. Tottenham had a £25 million bid turned down for the player, but I think Fulham are willing to actually, you know, offload him in January, cash in for the player, because Ryan Sessengon did sign a 3-year deal back in June with Fulham, and he was fantastic on his first team debut last season as well. Was Ryan Sessengon? I think he made nearly 30. I think he made about 30 appearances, scored 7 goals, and he can play anywhere on the left hand side. You know, he can play as a left back. He can also play as a left winger. As well, Ryan Sessengon, his attacking instinct's good, his defensive distribution's very, very good as well. Don't know how he's been getting on this season because I haven't been watching him. But Manchester United could identify him as a good replacement for Luke Shaw. Also, we know we've got potentially, you know, we've got Danny Rose on our agenda as well. But Ryan Sessengon, obviously, as we all know, he's very, very good. You know, as I said, you know, he's made his debut in the FL Cup against Leighton in his first team debut, made his first league debut against Leeds, scored his first goal against Cardiff, and that's when he became the youngest the youngest player to score in a championship match. Also, you know, the first player to be born in the 2000s, you know, to score in a first team game, and became the youngest player in the championship, to score as well. And also, you know, Ryan Sessengon, you know, became the first 17-year-old to score a hat-trick in the Football League as well since Dele Alli. So he has got a fantastic record as Ryan Sessengon as well, and he did join the Fulham under-9s teams in 2008, so he's risen up the ranks and the youth system fantastically well, and he is a fantastic young age prospect, is Ryan Sessengon. He has been at Fulham now nearly a decade as the player as well, but Manchester United could potentially, you know, move for him in January. So it says Man United, it says it's clear now to actually sign Ryan Sessengon in the January window, but Mourinho's been linked with him. I think he'd be very, very good for us, to be quite fair. He's a very, very good player. He may be different, you know, if he comes to the Premier League. Obviously, he's elevated to a higher level. He's in a bigger league with better players. So it'd be interesting to see how he would participate, Ryan Sessengon. But he has done fantastic for Fulham as well, and he has attracted the interest of the likes of Spurs and Manchester United. But as I'm saying, Tottenham have also, been interested in Ryan Sessengon as well, because obviously they're identifying him as a suitable replacement for Danny Rose, because Danny Rose has been at Tottenham a decade. He's still under contract with Tottenham until 2021 as well. But Danny Rose had been out of with injury for about 9 to 10 months, and obviously hasn't featured much since his injury for Tottenham. Ben Davies has been fulfilling Danny Rose's spot, in the Tottenham squad as well. But Danny Rose, as I said, his tackling instinct scored another good play. His defensive distribution is very, very good, distinct in his play, and I think he'd be a suitable replacement for Luke Shaw as well. As we all know, he did criticise Tottenham for their lack of investment back in the August window. He's on about £65,000 a week. He's Danny Rose as well with Tottenham, but these teams that can double his wages. Man United are prepared to offer him double Danny Rose's wage as well. And he did say he was willing to turn Chelsea down, to make a move to Manchester United. He did say back in the interview he didn't want to play football 15 years without one trophy and one medal. He has confirmed he's confirmed the other day in the press he has no issues with Pochettino, even though he did have a fallout with Pochettino, dropping him for key games, missing the North London derby and the West Brom game for Tottenham and all that. But I think he'll eventually want to elevate to a higher level, and as he said, you don't want to play football 15 years without one trophy, one medal. But if he comes to Manchester United, he has got more chance of winning silver, I think, than him winning it Tottenham. But there has been talks, as we all know, and this is why basically, Tottenham have also targeted Ryan Sessegnon's potential replacement. But we know there's been talks of Danny Rose and Luke Shaw's potential swap deal. It did say Tottenham are willing to offload Danny Rose for around £45 million in the January window, and I think Mourinho were actually preparing to pay £50 million for the player as well. But with the what talks about Luke Shaw and Danny Rose as a potential swap deal, Man United willing to offer £40 million plus I'm willing to offer Luke Shaw as part of the deal, so we can get Danny Rose as well. But saying about Luke Shaw, made his England senior debut in 2014. We purchased him for nearly £30 million Southampton. That's where he's up the youth system, with Southampton as well. But he's been at Old Trafford since 2014. Only played 32 times in the Premier League for United. Probably 4th, 5th choice left back now under Mourinho. He's played in the Carabao Cup twice this season. Hasn't made a Premier League appearance this season, but did play in the Champions League midweek. And Mourinho had praised him, especially, he said he was going to give him more chances in the team. He said it in his press conference. He also praised Lukaku during the same time as he praised Luke Shaw after that CSKA Moscow game. But obviously, Luke Shaw didn't feature against City. But due to Lukaku's bad performance, because it was early on in the season, Lukaku was phenomenal. He was scoring goals. He kept scoring, couldn't stop scoring. And all of a sudden, he's scoring one goal and he's going at least 3 or 4 games, without scoring. Now, put a bad display in against Manchester City. So I think it's likely Lukaku could be dropped for the Bournemouth game on Wednesday as well. But saying about Luke Shaw didn't get chosen, Luke Shaw may not be satisfied about this, because obviously without a doubt Ashley Young's been our best player at that left back position. But saying about Luke Shaw, he has found it difficult since he's come to Manchester United. Hasn't been the same player, since he broke his foot as Luke Shaw, and he's still only young. And there's been Arsenal, Chelsea, there's been talks of him going back to Southampton as well. He said Newcastle have been interested in the player, but I think Newcastle are only keen on getting him on a loan deal. They're only keen on getting him on loan rather than paying a permanent deal for Luke Shaw. And reportedly, if he is to leave Manchester United in January, Luke Shaw, reportedly he's demanding a £5 million payoff if he is to leave Old Trafford in the January window as well. But we will see what happens. Also, another potential left back that Manchester United have looked into is Alex Sandro. Now that's Chelsea's main priority target as well. Is Alex Sandro? Well, it was one of Chelsea's main priority targets was Alex Sandro. Alex Sandro's a very, very good left back, strong tackler, defensive distribution very, very good, attacking instincts very, very good. He's Alex Sandro's as well. He is a Juventus player, and I said Juventus have lost quite a few key players, in the last few years at least as well. Very, very good players, Alex Sandro, and I think, Chelsea have been heavily linked to him because obviously, Marco Alonso's been playing on that left-hand side for Chelsea, and Conte's still looking to add depth and character. He's still looking for someone, he's still looking to add depth, to compete with the likes of us and City. He's still looking, for someone, to partner up with Alvaro Morata in the front line, £70 million they purchased him for Real Madrid. They're still looking for a midfielder, so they're still looking to add ranks into their midfield, and they're potentially looking at a left back at Chelsea. They did miss out on quite a few targets back in August, and Chelsea could still re-go for Alex Sandro in the January window, because basically has confirmed that he's basically said he's unsatisfied with Juventus. He's not happy with Juventus. He's Alex Sandro, and I think he's admitted that he does want to leave Juventus, and I think in reality, Juventus have accepted that Alexandro wants to leave as well. But reportedly did say in the press that we've emerged him as our #1 January transfer target, to replace that left back position as well, Alex Sandro. But this is his third season now with Juventus. Is Alex Sandro, in his first season, won the domestic double. In his first 2 seasons, won the domestic double. Chelsea, were willing to pay a club record fee for him back in August. There had been negotiations, but Chelsea were willing to pay a club record fee of, I think they had a 50 million bid turned down, a 60 million bid turned down as well for Alex Sandro as well. Sorry, I think I just heard an echo. But yeah, he's a very, very good player, highly experienced as well. Ex-Porto player where he used to play with Danilo, had 4 fantastic years there, is Sandro. Also an ex-Las Santos player, and I think he was at another team as well, was the player. But he is a very, very good player, is Alex Sandro. Potentially Man United have showed interest in him. I think Juventus rate him at around £50 million. So we will see what happens about that as well. So potentially as well, as I said, about Jose Mourinho, potentially still looking to reinvest and strengthen up the squad. I did say before, he'd identified, 4 left-footed players at Jose Mourinho. But talking about that left-hand side position, could Man United still re-go for the Gareth Bale? Because obviously our main priority target to strengthen that wing position was back in August was Ivan Perisic. Inter Milan were demanding that they wanted 48 million. We were reluctant and we resisted to pay up to 48 million pound for Perisic, and he would have been, good for us. We need a player, that can put more crosses into the box as well. But saying about Gareth Bale, as confirmed, reportedly Bale has agreed terms to leave Real Madrid in the summer, because Florentino Perez, Real Madrid president, does actually want to get rid of Gareth Bale. There has been talks that he could, potentially make a return back to Tottenham. But there's talks that he could come to Old Trafford, because Man United have been linked to him since 2013 during the David Moyes era. Also, I think went for him in 2016. I think went for him under the Van Gaal era as well. But now we've got Mourinho. Mourinho were actually prepared to pay up to £100 million, for Bale back in August. I think Real Madrid are demanding that they want around £100 million if they had to sanction him off. I don't think Man United and Tottenham are willing to pay up to as much as £100 million, with a record of injuries that Gareth Bale's got. He's recently suffered an injury this season. He's just recently recovered from injury as well. He is under contract with Real Madrid, don't forget, until 2022. He did miss Real Madrid's last 40 out of 60 games, because of injury, Gareth Bale as well. But I said he's good when he's fully fit, to be quite fair. But, he's injury prone. And if you come to Manchester United, he's he's got a record of injuries, and that would concern me if he did come to Manchester United, Gareth Bale. But he has won 10 honours. He's won 3 Champions Leagues in 4 seasons with Real Madrid as Gareth Bale as well. And he's Premier League proven, because you proved it with Tottenham. You had 6 fantastic years there. Risen up the ranks as well with Southampton as well, Bale. And, very, very good for Wales as well. Welsh football, the air record 6 times. Second top scorer for Wales, behind Ian Wright as well. And very, very good in Euro 2016 as well, Bale. But, Man United were willing to pay a record fee of £100 million for Bale, because obviously our most expensive signing, is Paul Pogba, for £89 million. But, so basically there's talks about he could make a return back to Tottenham. Man United could still re-go for him as well. But we will see what happens. But obviously Tottenham have still got plans, even though they did buy 3 players back in August, and they have been consistent, for quite a few years of Tottenham for the last 2 or 3 years. They've been on the slope lately. They've been losing and drawing games and dropping points lately of Tottenham. Their target is basically this season to probably now, go for the top 4. They've still got the Champions League last 16. I look forward to Tottenham. So could Bale actually make a return back to Tottenham? Because, they're still waiting for the new stadium, Tottenham. They are still playing at Wembley, as we all know. They did struggle at Wembley early in the season, but then they started picking up results at Wembley, Tottenham. But they're nowhere not going to be near in the title race this season now, I don't think. They have been in the title race for the last couple of years. They've had the opportunity to win it. They haven't won it. I don't think Tottenham have won it, since like 1961, the league, the old First Division. Tottenham as well. But they have still got a lot of class players in their team, but they've got quality players who will eventually leave if they're not challenging or winning any silverware. As I've mentioned about Tottenham, they've still got FA Cup to look forward to, but Tottenham's still looking to reinvest. You know, they've got Bale on their radar. You know, there's been talks about Modric, you know, potentially making a return back to Tottenham as well, because he's also an ex-Tottenham player. Real Madrid also got Modric from Tottenham as well. So Real Madrid have done business with Tottenham a few times, you know, Bale and Luke and Modric. So could they potentially, you know, make a return as a well, potentially, you know, Tottenham, you know, actually, you know, could still revive the interest in Ross Barkley in the January window, but potentially he's on Chelsea's radar as well as Ross Barkley, because reportedly Tottenham are interested in him. Tottenham were looking to address their midfield a bit more as well. About Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley, who's been at Everton since he was 11 years old. He's been at Everton now over a decade now as Ross Barkley, and he created a lot more opportunities than, you know, quite a lot of the players last season as well. He's been at Everton, you know, a lot of years. You know, he's been there since 11. He has been on loan deals at Leeds and Sheffield Wednesday as well as Ross Barkley, but yeah, I think, you know, Ross Barkley is injured until January. Is Barkley as well? He is injured till January. Is Barkley? Chelsea reportedly, you know, had agreed a fee of around £35 million, you know, for Barkley, and I think he had done the medical, but Ross Barkley pulled himself out of the move. Everton, you know, he could leave Everton on free in the summer if Everton don't cash him for Barkley in the January window. But he could leave in January, as I said. Everton, you know, will probably demand to cash in on the play. Everton did want him to stay because they were willing to offer him a new deal. He refused it, did Ross Barkley. He refused this new deal with Ross Barkley. But Everton, you know, Everton have had a bad start to the season. You know, they did spend quite a lot of money back in August. You know, spent around 100 million, or was it over 100 million? They did obviously sack Ronald Koeman. You know, they've now got Sam Allardyce in, who's been at quite a few clubs. And he's got quite a few potential targets on his radar as well as Sam Allardyce. But potentially Everton could lose Ross Barkley as well. But it's Chelsea have been interested in him. Tottenham have also been interested in him as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And also potentially another guy's also, you know, being mentioned in the press just now. He's called Philip Max. He's an Augsburg defender. He's Philip Max. Reportedly Man United and Chelsea, you know, have showed an interest in the player. It has said Man United and Chelsea reportedly scouting the players. Is it Augsburg in the Bundesliga? Is it Augsburg? This is third season now with Augsburg. He's Philip Max as well. He's also an ex Bayern Munich player. You know, when he was a youth, you know, he was in the youth system with Bayern Munich. Also, you know, played for Schalke. Also was in the reserve team with Schalke as well. I think, you know, he was at 1860 Munich as well, was this player. But reportedly he's under contract with Augsburg until 2022. Man United and Chelsea have been closely monitoring the player. I think they were watching him Sunday night, reportedly, as mentioned in the press about Philip Max. But reportedly it's also said that he's mentioned Everton of Tottenham being interested in him as well. And it also said, you know, we know Mourinho's looking to address the midfield, as we're all aware of, and it's also said in the press that, you know, Jose Mourinho is willing to pay a record fee of about a club record fee of £95 million for Milkovic Savage, as I've mentioned to you quite a few times. You know, the player from Lazio. This is his third season now with Lazio. Lazio paid, I think, £16 million for him from Genk as well. Milkovic Savage, but he is a defensive mid. He can also play as an attacking mid as well. Can Milkovic Savage as well, but he does look a good young age prospect. I think Lazio are demanding that they want around £88 million for the player. Reportedly, Manchester United are interested in him, and reportedly, you know, Man United were scouting the player during Lazio's game with Sam Pandora as well. So we've also showed an interest in him as well with We're just having a smoke of this guy's But yeah, so Marino's basically, still looking to address the midfield. We know there's been Mesut Ozil on our radar, now this Milinkovic-Savic being mentioned from Lazio. Now, reportedly, this Philip Max has also been mentioned, but he's a defender as well. He made about 51 appearances for the Augsburg, scored 1 goal, I think, in the Bundesliga as well. He's just been mentioned in the press as well, Philip Max. Don't really know much about him. And we know also, with Marian Fellaini, he's coming to an end of his deal with Manchester United. We have got quite a few players that are coming to an end of the deal, so we've got basically, Marian Fellaini coming to an end of his deal, at Manchester United. Reportedly, we offered him a new contract, a new deal back in September. Fellaini had turned this new deal down. Fellaini has made about 144 appearances, in the Premier League, for Manchester United. This is 5th season now with Manchester United. He's Marian Fellaini's as well. Reportedly, if he's to potentially sign a new deal, he was demanding a high wage increase of around £50,000. He's on about £120,000 a week, but he wants around £170,000 a week. But reportedly, as I did say, it has said in the press today about Marian Fellaini that reportedly Man United have been in further more talks. Mourinho's had further more talks, with Fellaini of trying to secure him a new deal. There's been more contract talks, and Jose Mourinho has made a promise to Marian Fellaini because they both have a fantastic relationship, do Marian Fellaini and Jose Mourinho. As I said, and Jose Mourinho is a big admirer of the player. This is why he potentially blocked him making a move to Galatasaray, back in the August window, but reportedly it did say PSG were willing to offer a 4-year deal for him. PSG are seeing him as a backup option for Figo Motta, as we all know. And yeah, potentially PSG willing to offer him a 4-year deal. Besiktas, it's said, have also been interested in Fellaini as well. But we're not prepared to cash in for him in January, and Mourinho's actually, preparing. Mourinho, is concerned that he could leave on a free in the summer as well. But Mourinho hopes he does sign a contract extension, a new deal. As it isn't looking likely though at the moment, and we paid £27 million for him, during the David Moyes era, and he has been injured, quite a few times this season as well as Fellaini. So we'll see what happens about that. But Mourinho identifies Milinkovic-Savic as a good, ideal replacement for Fellaini as well. But potentially, Mesut Ozil has been mentioned as well, as we all know in the press. Mesut Ozil, a record of assists, since he's been in the Premier League, and it is as confirmed as we all know. Arsene Wenger said Sanchez and Ozil that are both coming to the deals, with Arsenal Football Club. Arsene Wenger made it clear that they will not be sold in the January window. Ozil and Sanchez, I think at least one of them will go in the January window. It did confirm the other week in the press that reportedly Ozil had been given permission to leave, had been given permission to leave Arsenal, and because Arsenal basically taking a financial risk because they could, if they let him go on a free in the summer, I think Man United are paying to wait until the summer, to get him on a free transfer if he doesn't sign a new deal with Arsenal. And reportedly he has been demanding higher wages of over £300,000 as Mesut Ozil as well. But reportedly, the Ozil's agent had confirmed quite a while back that the contract talks were actually, going in the right direction. But recently, rumours have stirred up on social media that he could potentially still secure and sign a new deal with Arsenal. There has been talks, there has been fair more discussions with Ozil representatives and Arsenal Football Club over this as well. Ozil did admit he is keen on staying in the Premier League. He's Mesut Ozil. He is keen on staying in the Premier League with Arsenal. He's Mesut Ozil. But as I said, it did confirm that the contract talks are stalled, so Arsenal are nowhere near in the process of securing him a new deal, as we all know. But as I said, Jose Mourinho's keen on reuniting with a player after they were fantastic together at Real Madrid. They're bonding fantastic well together at Real Madrid. That he's also got experience of being in Germany as well as Mesut Ozil, as we all know. He had 5 fantastic years in Germany. And he's now Premier League proven, and Arsenal paid £42 million, was it? Just over £42 million for him from Real Madrid. So this is 5th season now of Arsenal. Made over a century appearances now with Arsenal as well as the player. And also, it did confirm the other week in the press with sports. The Spanish press were actually reporting that Ozil had agreed a contract with Barcelona. He said he'd agreed to join Barcelona. He said Ozil's agent had been in discussions with Barcelona as well. So there were talks that he could actually make a return back to Spain, but I think he would rather stay in the Premier League. But He could still leave on a free in the summer if Arsenal don't cash in for him in January, and obviously if he doesn't sign a new deal. But potentially, he's got a good record. He's good at creating chances. He's good at providing assists. And Jose Mourinho classifies him as a fantastic number 10 as well. And yeah, he'd be fantastic for Manchester United. I love Mesut Ozil at Manchester United. Got to be quite fair, but obviously Barcelona are using him as an alternative because obviously, as I said, Barcelona's main target is Coutinho, but they are weighing up other options. Are Barcelona in case they do fail with the pursuit of Coutinho as well. Also another player, that's also, let alone Sanchez, Jack Wilshere's also another player that's coming to an end of his Arsenal deal. Jack Wilshere has confirmed basically he's unsure about his Arsenal future because he does love and adore Arsenal Football Club, does Jack Wilshere as well. Haven't managed him in quite a while, but he's risen up the youth system fantastically he's risen up the youth system very, very well as Jack Wilshere. He has been asked since like 2001 as Jack Wilshere as well. He has been on loan deals at likes of Bournemouth and Bolton. He was on loan at Bournemouth last season. I think he was injured last season. He made about 27 appearances for Bournemouth last season, Jack Wilshere. Jack Wilshere, he's frustrated with lack of game time he's been getting this season. I think he's only played about 45 minutes this season as Jack Wilshere. He hasn't played very, very much anywhere for Arsenal, but his combination, his link-up play is very, very good. Jack Wilshere as well. I think he does still love Arsenal. He could potentially still. He's another player coming to an end of his deal. He could leave Arsenal in the January window as well. Could Jack Wilshere? He was at Luton, then joined Arsenal youth in 2001. He has been at Arsenal all in all, including his time with the youth. About 16 years, something like that. He's been in the senior team and nearly 10 years as well as Jack Wilshere. Became the youngest player. He became Arsenal's youngest league debut in 2008 against Blackburn at just the age of 16. The youngest player to play in European competition as well. And also, did well in the FA Youth Cup for Arsenal as well, did Jack Wilshere. And made his debut for England, against Hungary as well, Jack Wilshere. But still probably an essential player for Arsenal as well. But obviously, Arsenal are still looking to address their squad a little bit more as well, because he still has you got Sanchez contender his deal as well. There still has been talks of Giroud potentially may go in, Theo Walcott going. They've potentially got longer contracts, obviously than Sanchez and Ozil and that. But they've been obviously. They haven't played much this season. Walcott on Giroud for Arsenal. Ozil and Sanchez have been playing quite a lot for Arsenal this season, even though they're both coming to the end of their deals, both players as well. So potentially, guys, that's mainly everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider, drop a like on the video. This mainly is about Ryan Sessengon. Reportedly now, Man United are clear to sign. It's clear to sign now Ryan Sessengon in the January window because. Because reportedly now Fulham are willing to actually offload him, to leave Craven Cottage. But he's got a fantastic record, became the first 17-year-old to score an hat-trick in the Football League since Dele Alli, and became the youngest player to score in a championship match as well, and was fantastic in his first team debut last season as well, was the player. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, take care, God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye.